Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. For the arms that hold me. The hurting. How is it so easy for you to be kind to people? He asked. Milk and honey dripped from my lips as I answered, 'cause people have not been kind to me. The first boy that kissed me held my shoulders down, like the handlebars of the first bicycle he ever rode. I was 5. He had the smell of starvation on his lips, which he picked up from his father feasting on his mother at 4 a.m. He was the first boy to teach me my body was forgiving to those that wanted, that I should feel anything less than whole. And oh my God, did I feel as empty as his mother at 4:25 a.m. You have been taught your legs are a pit stop for men that need a place to rest, a vacant body, empty enough for guests, but no one ever comes and is willing to stay. It is your blood in my veins. Tell me how I'm supposed to forget. The therapist places the doll in front of you. It is the size of girls your uncles like touching. Point to where his hands were. You point to the spot between its legs, the one he fingered out of you like a confession. How are you feeling? You pull the lump in your throat out with your teeth and say, fine, numb, really. Midweek sessions. He was supposed to be the first male love of your life. You still search for him everywhere. Father. You were so afraid of my voice, I decided to be afraid of it too. She was a rose in the hands of those who had no intention of keeping her. To fathers with daughters. Every time you tell your daughter, you yell at her out of love. You teach her to confuse anger with kindness, which seems like a good idea, till she grows up to trust men who hurt her, 'cause they look so much like you. I've had sex, she said, but I don't know what making love feels like. If I knew what safety looked like, I would have spent less time falling into arms that were not. Sex takes the consent of two. If one person is lying there not doing anything because they are not ready or not in the mood or simply don't want to, yet the other is having sex with their body, it's not love, it is rape. The idea that we are so capable of love but still choose to be toxic. There is no bigger illusion in the world than the idea that a woman will bring dishonor into a home if she tries to keep her heart and her body safe. You pinned my legs to the ground with your feet and demanded I stand up. The rape will tear you in half, but it will not end you. You have sadness living in places sadness shouldn't live. A daughter should not have to beg her father for a relationship. Trying to convince myself I'm allowed to take up space is like writing with my left hand when I was born to use my right. The idea of shrinking is hereditary. You tell me to quiet down because my opinions make me less beautiful. But I was not made with a fire in my belly so I could be put out. I was not made with a lightness on my tongue so I could be easy to swallow. I was made heavy, half blade, half silk, difficult to forget, and not easy for the mind to follow. He guts her with his fingers like he's scraping the inside of a cantaloupe clean. Your mother is in the habit of offering more love than you can carry. Your father is absent. You are a war, the border between two countries, the collateral damage, the paradox that joins the two, but also splits them apart. Emptying out of my mother's belly was my first act of disappearance. Learning to shrink for a family who likes their daughters invisible was the second. The art of being empty is simple. Believe them when they say you are nothing. Repeat it to yourself like a wish. I am nothing. I am nothing. I am nothing. So often, the only reason you know you're still alive is from the heaving of your chest. And that's the art of being empty. You look just like your mother. I guess I do carry her tenderness well. You both have the same eyes, 'cause we are both exhausted. And the hands. We share the same wilting fingers. But that rage, your mother doesn't wear that anger. You're right. This rage is the one thing I get from my father. When my mother opens her mouth to have a conversation at dinner, my father shoves the word hush between her lips and tells her to never speak with her mouth full. This is how the women in my family learn to live with their mouths closed. Our knees pried open by cousins and uncles and men, our bodies touched by all the wrong people, that even in a bed full of safety, we are afraid. Father, you always call to say nothing in particular. You ask what I'm doing or where I am, and when the silence stretches like a lifetime between us, I scramble to find questions to keep the conversation going. What I long to say most is, I understand this world broke you. It has been so hard on your feet. I don't blame you for not knowing how to remain soft with me. Sometimes I stay up thinking of all the places you are hurting, which you'll never care to mention. I come from the same aching blood, from the same bones, so desperate for attention I collapse in on myself. I am your daughter. I know the small talk is the only way you know how to tell me you love me, 'cause it is the only way I know how to tell you. You plow into me with 2 fingers, and I am mostly shocked. It feels like rubber against an open wound. I do not like it. You begin pushing faster and faster, but I feel nothing. You search my face for a reaction, so I begin acting like the naked women in the videos you watch when you think no one's looking. I imitate their moans, hollow and hungry. You ask if it feels good, and I say, yes. So quickly it sounds rehearsed, but the acting, you do not notice. The thing about having an alcoholic parent is an alcoholic parent does not exist. Simply an alcoholic who could not stay sober long enough to raise their kids. I can't tell if my mother is terrified or in love with my father. It all looks the same. I flinch when you touch me. I fear it is him.